Welcome to the show.
This guy got a mistletoe belt on.
Gosh, that is bad.
The whole plane smells like weed.
Those were the days. It's a joke, you idiot.
Looked in the mirror, I'm like,
Good old innocent fun. Welcome back, everybody, to Troublemakers, the podcast where each week we bring on a guest and they tell crazy stories about their lives. I'm your host, Dylan Krasinski, coming to you from a beautiful day in Brooklyn. The windows are open, the candles are not lit, but we're still ready to have a good time. With me, as always, is my indispensable number two, the co-host, the big dog, Zawodni, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much, Dylan. We have a great show on our hands today. But before we get started, I want to let everybody know that we are here every single Wednesday. You can watch full video episodes on our YouTube channel, along with all the shorts that my man DK here cuts up for you. But if you are one of those people that just likes the audio version, listening to it on Spotify or Apple Pod or whatever other streaming services that you use, we're on all of them. Make sure on those services you're leaving us those ratings and reviews. If you're going to leave us a rating, make it 5 stars, nothing less. I mean, this is a 5-star podcast.
Dude, if you leave it less than 5, we'll kill you.
We
won't.
That's a guarantee, actually.
Yeah, it is.
But Dylan, we have a
great guest today.
Great guest.
Very excited to have him here.
All the way from Staten Island.
I mean, right across the Guinea gangplank, as my dad would call it. Well, he's Italian, so am I, so we can say that.
Yeah, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Peter Revello, everybody.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
Studio audience, baby.
Come on, everyone shut.
Come on.
I like how you said crazy, like you're like a radio DJ.
Yeah, no, you know,
crazy stories of Dylan. You know, it's like, I don't know. We were having a conversation before that started, and I'm like, that's a normal person, and you went crazy. I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah,
we do a real bait and switch where we try to start off like a 1990s radio station.
Yeah, sure.
Real shock jock.
Yeah.
Like Dylan and the Goose. and then we just start going like, hey, so what's your biggest vice? Have you ever done heroin? And then it's like, oh.
It really is. It's Dylan and the big dog, Zawodni.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, it's like, well, and then it's just, yeah, and then that's when the first time I sucked dick for coke. You know? It wasn't the last time.
Oh, wow.
No, I never sucked dick for coke.
Thank you. I like that. I like that you qualify. You're like, yeah.
No, I just suck dick
for free, actually.
For free, yeah,
you know,
I don't
for
need
fun.
coke.
For fun.
Well, that's what I always
reward.
said. I accidentally went to an all. I've told this on the podcast, an all gay AA meeting.
Oh, yay!
Gay, yeah.
That was the title of the episode. Yeah.
But when you like, I didn't know at first, and then after I saw, like, when it has all the listings of the AA meetings, that one's little comment was it's Pittsburgh's first ever gay friendly AA meeting.
Wow.
And then it's like, you know, were they getting bullied at other meetings? Like, you could suck dick for coke, but not for love. You know, just this like they're being bullied.
It's so Pittsburgh to have their first ever gay AA meeting in like 2020.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, you know what? I guess
time.
we can finally do it.
Right. The
Dude.
steel stacks have closed. It's time to bring in these gay guys. I don't know.
Dude,
That's crazy.
happy to have you here. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Dude, how is that fucking? You like living on Staten Island?
It's the best.
Yeah.
And I'll never leave.
Yeah, spoken like a Staten Islander.
No, people are like, why don't you leave? It's like, what's there to come here to Brooklyn? I was driving around here. The people you live among, they're animals. They're just disgusting animals. And no, I'm not talking. No, the locals are nice. I'm talking about the transplants who come here. I saw this kid in Carhartt. I'm like, this had like a. That's the problem with Bushwick. They're like young people, and they just try to like fuck themselves up so much. They try to make themselves look ugly. Like the girls give them like fucked up. They give them bangs. They look like they're wearing like burlap sacks and stuff. Like that's like fashion here,
dude.
And I'm like, you have it. You can have it.
The other day, like 2 days ago, I was walking from the gym behind this woman. She got like, person. Let's say person. Pink
but
hair.
in Staten Island, we can be a woman. You know what I mean? We
About-
go, that's a dame. It's a skirt over there. It's a broad. Everyone's like, that's great. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, we love it. Hey,
I
you want
move to Staten Island?
Yeah, you want a sausage and peppers? Let's get in here. Dude, she's 6'4", purple hair, and like wearing like a plaid dress and non-matching tie-dye shirt, and she's got like a backpack with all these like little stuffed animals like taped to it or whatever. Yeah. And I walked behind her for like 2 blocks and just watching like all like the black dudes who live here, like watching them turn around and look at her and being like, what the fuck?
It's like seeing Big Bird. It's like seeing Big
so
Bird in your
funny,
fucking neighborhood. You're like, I don't even know what to do with this.
We did a podcast yesterday, and when I left at 3, p.m., broad daylight. There was a girl walking down your street that just had full cat face paint on.
It's insane.
But like she was walking with the swagger of somebody that was just like going to work.
Right. She's like, nothing to see here, just a cat woman. You're like, I have to say something.
Yeah.
It's insane, dude.
That reminds me, I took, I've only taken Molly a couple of times, but one of the times was with Dylan Palladino.
Oh, yeah.
And Usama. Usama on Molly is insane, by the way. It's like, it's too much.
I get it.
It's too much.
He's got the energy of always being on Molly.
And it's like,
so.
I know, even his movements are very, but I remember I took Molly and it couldn't wash away the hate I felt for these people at their warehouse. Like, we're at this big thing and there was just people wearing like glitter and stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're not a pixie. Like, I was on Molly and I couldn't contain my disgust. So it didn't work,
That's hilarious. Are you a big drug guy?
Not really. I mean, I had a good run, but
Did
then
you?
you get into your 30s and you're like, yeah, we're done with this.
What was your favorite drug?
Alcohol.
Yeah. You still drink?
No.
Really?
No.
When did you stop drinking?
It's 3.5 years ago.
Oh, why'd you stop? Just
What kind of question is that?
okay. Well,
Because things were going too well.
listen. Yeah, dude. You
Why
ever
do
talk
you
to
stop
someone?
drinking? What kind of question is that?
I gotta make sure it's for a good reason.
I was donating too much of my time to the needy, and that's why I just black out and be at a soup kitchen. You know how it is. What a ridiculous thing. Why did you stop? Because it was shit. Because things were going badly.
That sounds like 3.5 years. That's like right before like the pandemic and shit.
Yeah. It was bad timing, but I didn't want to. I don't know. I handled the pandemic like a champ. I think, I don't know what it was. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, everything's gone. No one was doing stand-up, so you don't have to feel like bitter and like jealous of people. Like, nobody could do it.
Dude,
You're not missing out.
absolutely. That was the best. There was no FOMO, so you could just relax.
Yeah.
If stand-up just didn't exist,
Forget it.
I couldn't quit stand-up, but if it just stopped ceasing to exist, I would probably be a happier person. We'd all probably be happier people.
On that, it was a good summer.
It was a good summer.
Every time I talk to somebody that I knew back in the day that used to do stand-up and quit, they're always like, yeah, I'm just done now, man. Just like living with my family. And I'm like, man, good for you, dude. They sound like so happy and like they've reached some like level of clarity. And I'm still like, I'm going to go make $20 if I can scream over this bar watching a Rangers game.
Yeah, it's I in the beginning when people say that they like when you're in the beginning of doing stand up and people are like, oh, I quit, you're like, fucking loser. But now I'm just like, no, that's good.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, you pursued happiness. That's nice. That's nice.
You made the right call.
I quit drinking periodically during the pandemic because I was noticing that I was doing these like Zoom happy hours, like with just friends, like trying to have any.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was. I don't know why I say happy hour. It wasn't like it was work. It was just drinking in the afternoon
With your friends on Zoom.
Which in reality is just drinking by yourself in a room.
Well, I fucking pissed.
Cheersing a computer. You know what I mean?
I pissed my futon.
Yeah.
I drank a case of White Claws in a day, just sitting on a Zoom talking to people because nobody could leave, and pissed my futon.
Those Zoom happy hour, that'll do it. That's
Yeah.
what happened. Yeah, sometimes you piss the futon.
Well, because you're not mingling, you're not walking around, you're just sitting in front of the.
But also, you're like so close to the bathroom. You're not out anywhere. So it's kind of weird. Like, you just had to walk 10 feet to the bathroom. You're like, I'm just going to piss on this futon.
Dude, that was a weird thing when you would get drunk with people on Zoom and then you're just like, all right, goodbye. And you just hit end call. And then you're like, I'm just alone in my apartment.
It's like a true fucking drunk.
Like, exactly. That's the only separator between you and someone who's having liquor for breakfast is a couple people on a computer. That's
you
it.
you have an internet connection. And it's like, well, I'm not like them. You know?
Yeah,
I'm assuming the answer is yes, but were you a blackout when you were boozing?
Yeah, not all the time. Not all the time. But every 6 to 8 weeks, I'd have a nice little rip at it, you know?
Yeah.
Do other stuff, drive. I love drinking and driving. I was so good at it. No DUIs, none, no accidents. I didn't even get stopped.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know why? Because I'm not stupid. Because what I do, you get drunk. If you're listening, you're going to drink and drive. This is what you do, okay? Don't be an asshole. Don't speed, all right? Don't do that. Use your signals. It's one crime at a time sort of thing. Like, you don't do two things. Don't draw too much attention to yourself.
Yeah. You
Take
know what
the
I
back
always
roads.
say is if you're going to drink and drive, pay attention on driving, right?
Yeah.
We don't encourage it, but like, don't, for
we don't?
example, look down and try to change a song while you're driving on the highway.
Man, what the
Which
fuck,
is how
dude?
Ray crashed his car when he got his DUI.
I was really good at drinking and driving until I wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I had the discipline. You didn't have the discipline to be a great drunk driver. You didn't have it in you.
I mean, I made it home once with 2 of my tires on the rim. That's pretty impressive.
Is that the one when someone came out, your mom, and was like,
I was living at home then. It was it was rough.
was your mom's boyfriend was like, oh, you're going to take my car to work?
My
That
mom's
one?
lover Bill was like, "Do you want to use? Do you want to use my truck to go to your show tonight?" And I was like, "I'll just use my fucking car, dude." And he was like, "Hey, why don't you go up on the street and look at your car and then and let me know if you want to use my truck?" And I go up there and just the driver's side tires are just completely flat, rims are bent. And I was like, "Let me get your keys."
Bill seems like a nice guy.
He's all right.
Is she still with Bill?
No, she's not with Bill anymore.
Fuck, man. I was rooting for Bill.
I know he's
tough.
he's missing most of his fingers on his right hand.
That'll happen.
Still
Really?
a really good golfer
Really?
and hunter.
Those little nubs.
Over 50
that was
in
his
Pittsburgh? I mean, that's a catch. Good guy.
He's got
good
most of
golfer.
his hand.
He's got most of his hand.
He's an 8 handicap. He's good.
Wow, that's too bad about Bill. Well, I hope he finds happiness somewhere else. Maybe it was your mom's fault. Is that possible?
No, my mom's a sweetheart.
That's everyone says that.
I don't know.
No, my mom's a literal angel.
Bill sounds like a pretty good guy
I know.
myself. I don't know.
He didn't even be like, hey, he didn't even ream you out. He's like, take the truck, kid. It's all right.
Actually, you know what? He might have been the problem.
True.
helping her son cover up a DUI,
Well, my dad
potential hit and run.
My dad was the problem because when I got my DUI, he had a conversation with my brother and he goes, "Man, you hear about Ray? He's gonna have to start being a lot more careful when he drives drunk." And my brother was like, "Yeah, or he could just learn the lesson."
No. You get one. Yeah, I feel like you get one, and then I think the second one, that's when you go, all right. Now it's time to.
Oh yeah, you
Buckle down.
You get arrested for one. I mean, you kind of gotta make a decision. Either that means you stop drinking or you just never drive.
You would
drunk
think
again.
You would think. My dad has 5.
Really?
He's going for the record, baby, and we're rooting him. We're cheering him on. Go, Pop. Go ahead, Papa.
In New York?
No, he's spreading it around a little bit.
Okay.
You got a couple in New York. That's the thing you got to do. You got to bring down to Florida, which is crazy to get DUI in Florida, where they're just basically just drunk gators fucking driving around. And it's like, what's going on? Like, you have to drive like a real dick.
Dude, that's serious. Did he go to jail for that?
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, no.
Kind of
I
questions,
mean,
more great questions. Why did you stop
He's
drinking? And,
bringing in this
if you
fucking-
get 5 DUIs, so what happens then? Do you go to jail?
no, dude. I'm saying,
you
you
get
get
the
a
6 on
timeout.
free. It's a little punch card that you hand in.
Peter coming in with this fucking energy right now.
just
Dude,
dumb questions.
Well, there were
Not dumb.
mandatory minimums. I prosecuted in Massachusetts.
You
And-
narc.
Yeah,
You
I know,
fucking
dude.
narc.
Listen,
Call it all the time.
What kind
that's
of
you know.
What kind of shit is this? It is
You
a
didn't
real
know
bait
that?
and switch.
It is. This is fucking.
If you're like, oh, chill, I'm chill. Tell me your drug stories. Now I'm going to leave in fucking handcuffs.
Dude, the cops are waiting for you right outside.
Pull up his record. Now we've been.
No, I'm clean, baby.
researching
I
it.
never got one. I'm
Detective
good.
Goodman is on speed dial. Dude, but yeah, it was 2.5 years. Once you got past, I think it was for OUI 3 or 4. Like 3, you finally went to jail. It was a mandatory. And then 4, 5, like you're looking at like 2.5 years in jail.
I don't
like
know.
in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I
But
think when you spread it around, that's the thing. My dad's smart.
smart.
He
He's
did
a
a
smart
tour.
man.
He toured with it.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you go down to a couple of New York guys. It's getting a little hot here.
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
to Florida. Yeah, so you got 5.
Damn.
Yeah,
But he's from a different time. It was legal. Like not legal, but
kind of was.
very rarely fucking got in trouble for it.
My dad told me stories when he was like, when I was getting my license, my dad was like, yeah, well, you know, when we got our license, we weren't allowed to drive. You know, we lived in Suffolk County, so we're not allowed to drive to Nassau County. You could only drive in your county, right?
Wait, just in general, or if you're drunk?
When you got your permit.
Oh,
like
I
when
see.
you started getting your permit. So he was like, so sometimes, you know, me and my friends would get in a car, we get a nice case of beer, and we drive right on the line, right over to Nassau. And I was like, and then we come back, and I was like, hey, that's not the thing you're doing wrong. It was just casual. You just have a couple beers, drive around. That's what they would do.
There were a lot of stories like that. My uncle was
70s.
telling me. Yeah, basically the 70s, where the cops like, you're drunk, and then you're like, yep, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna follow you home, okay? and they escort you home.
It's the move, you know? That's how it should be. Some places, that's how it still is on Long Island.
You think?
Certain areas, yeah.
Long Island's a good
Affluent
place.
areas, you know? Yeah.
Oh, like
Hampton Bays, I'm sure you're not getting DUIs there.
Oyster Bay.
Huntington Village. My family lives in Oyster Bay.
Syosset.
Did your dad ever have to have the thing installed in the car where you got to breathe in?
I don't know what it is. I don't think I think in Florida they're just. I don't think they care about it. I don't think they're just like, hey, don't happen again. It's just like they give more free labor if you go back to jail.
Get you.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Someone's
again.
got to fucking chip these rocks away, you know?
It's crazy. You would think he'd stop, but he just loves drinking and driving. I don't blame him because it was a fun time. But you really do feel alive when you speed a little bit, not a crazy amount, and you put on the right song, right, Ray?
Yep.
And then you're just cruising. And you're like, I'm gonna live forever. And in that moment, you kind of do. Yeah. Anyway.
You could see your eyes starting to gloss over, and you're like, that's the way to go.
It was a beautiful day. No, but it had to end. I didn't. That wasn't good. No, but no DUIs. The only time I didn't even get into an accident. This guy had a surveillance camera outside of his house, and I'm like, I had shows or whatever. I was out in the city, and then I stopped at this place called El Patron. It's like this Mexican place, and I'd stop there and get nachos, get some beers, talk with the Mexican guys. It was the best. I could speak enough Spanish so one time I'm talking to the guy. I'm like, hey, ¿cómo estás? Stuff like that. He's like, bien, bien. He's like, ¿tú vives in, the neighborhood? I'm like, yeah. So we talk about how the neighborhood's changing, the barrio, it's cambiando. He's like, yeah, sí. And then he was like, hey, ¿te gusta chicas? And I was like, yeah, I like girls. He's like, ¿te gusta chicas latinas? And I was like, me gusta chicas todas. I like all the ladies. I like all of them. And then he slides me this card for like Latina whores. It's like you go into the bay. He was like on Bay Street. It's like there's like under a bridge, I guess. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. It's like I have a girlfriend, and he's just like, oh, I have a wife. It's like it's fine. I'm like, okay.
They're very quiet. They don't say anything.
Mi esposa say nada. You're like, okay, but so that's how much Spanish I speak. So I was able to get a little.
You speak Spanish like my uncle speaks Spanish to the people who work for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he runs a tree care company, landscaping, and I remember he'll just show up. I worked for them one summer.
Like, and I'm gonna call ice. Claro, comprende, ice.
He'd be like, dude, I remember he'd be like, guys, that pile over there, the mucho grande, needs to be pequeño, and I would be like, that's not Spanish. They don't.
Does he call them all by the wrong name? He's
Hey, Nacho.
Hector, get back here, Hector.
Dude, everyone's name there is Jose. Every single guy.
Yeah, it's better than.
That's what he told me.
You get nicknamed. You get Nacho. That's what you become. If you're a Mexican guy, say, all right. Well, we got a Nacho.
That's kind of a badass name.
Nacho?
You know? Yeah.
It's my boy Nacho.
Well, Better Call Saul. Nacho. Dude, what was it like growing up in Staten Island?
It was the best. No, it's good. I don't
People
know.
love it. What do people think about Pete Davidson there? They hate him?
It depends where you go. I don't know. I think he's cool. I don't know. Anytime, bro. First of all, I had my sister went to high school with him, and he got like kicked out and stuff. So like I knew him. I knew him.
Damn.
Not knew him, but I knew of him when he like first started and stuff because he was like 15 and whatever. And but yeah, people like him. It's just weird, like this hate. I don't understand. Like he took Kim Kardashian to the atrium. Like this is like, imagine your hometown movie theater. You go there and you have some that's where he brought Kim Kardashian. Like this shitty, bro, there's fucking Good and Plenty's embedded into the ground. And he takes Kim Kardashian. As soon as he did that, I'm like, I have nothing to say about you.
I dig him. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, who I was a big fan of that I think it's kind of a little similar is, and I know not a lot of people are, is Nick Cannon. Not for anything that he does comedically or any of his movies, but don't you feel like when he was a teenager,
Too many kids. That's my only problem with Nick Cannon. Too many kids.
I think it's good. He's
too many kids with Mariah
building the whole
Carey.
team.
When he was like a teenager, don't you think he was talking to his boys like, dude, one day I'm gonna fuck her, and then he did.
And then he did.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then he filled her up. Wait, did he?
He's got like 20 kids.
It's too many.
At least 2 or 3 got to be with her.
He's 2 away from a full-sided football team. That's crazy.
It's weird that you picked football. Could have been any other.
I could have said basketball, but that's 5 guys. You know, you get 22 guys, and you could.
Who's the guy from Staten Island here? You? Could have been rugby. Could have been
soccer.
Yeah, a whole lot of. Okay.
Hey, you had
Sure.
a bunch of basketball
Nick
players.
Cannon's gonna have all his kids play soccer. That's
Dude, he had a
definitely-
whole rap crew with him. A bunch of rap.
His posse. You mean his children? His children, you mean? His little boys? He was rolling deep. That's all I'm saying. I hear that. The guy's got some riz.
Dude, he's got 13 recording studios. Dude,
He just dropped Riz.
he dropped it. Ray just learned what Riz was yesterday.
Yeah.
And then we both learned that it stands for charisma, which I did not know.
Which
That's-
I
makes
learned
sense.
what Riz meant, but apparently I've had it all along.
Dude, I've always had the Riz,
Like
baby.
the Tin Man with his heart.
Okay. Dude, I do love that about Pete Davidson, where it's hometown boy makes good, but people don't like it. It's like, can you imagine your town? Obviously, your town is Pete Davidson, but like in Pittsburgh or Long Island, literally like the guy who was like a burnout drug dealer then brings arguably the world's biggest celebrity to the movie theater. That's crazy.
Yeah, it
to
was
have
cool.
dinner. That's nuts. People should love that, not hate it.
Well, they just, he shit on them and basically saying like they're all like idiots, chain smoking morons, and like it's like but I mean it's kind of what some of you are. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, but he keeps doing stuff on the island. Like I remember he was shooting the movie there, and I saw Judd Apatow. Me and my wife were at a diner, and Judd Apatow was there, and I was like, fuck man, I kind of want to see what he left for a tip. Aren't you like curious?
Yeah.
Is it a lot? And then I was going to ask the waitress, but I chickened out. I really wanted to be like, how much did he? Just a
curious.
Judd.
Yeah. I bet it's nice.
I hope so.
You'd hope that,
Yeah, he would be a little cash.
a little generous. He's got money to blow,
When I was in like my early 20s, I used to work a concession stand at a museum. So it was right like they're like I don't know, sorry to brag, but it was
concessions. So I'm like imagining not a museum, and then I'm in a museum. I just can't imagine like what are you serving? Like they have like French cheese fries at the museum, or you're going to the
it was a science center. So they had like
Pittsburgh's first Nazi center.
I was basically
Not to support, just to remember.
Well, no, but we got like a lot of like there was like a film credit to shoot movies in Pittsburgh, so there was always celebrities there. So I hated this job so fucking bad, and I used to just lie all the time when people would come up, and I'd be like, "You never guess who's in the theater right now? Kevin Bacon." And people would go nuts. They'd be like, "What? What was he like?" I was like, "Really cool, man. He got like an orange soda, some popcorn, and he tipped me $20." And I used to do this all the time. And then one time, my coworker was like, "Yo, Kevin Bacon just tipped you $20." I was like, "No, I fucking lie about this all the time. What are we doing?"
It's just crazy to think. I guess Pittsburgh's a different place that you're like $20. Whoa, boy! Huh? Oh my God! I'm gonna settle down. I'm gonna invest this. See if I can get a nice ROI.
You could stretch a Jackson in Pittsburgh, dude. You kidding me?
Wow,
Yeah.
good reference. Did you have any bad jobs when you were younger?
Bad jobs. My first job, I was a paper boy, and that was okay. That was a pretty good job.
Classic suburban job. I like that. Yeah.
I remember delivering the newspapers on 9/11. That was an interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And then like they had because in the advance they had all the faces of the people. I'm just like a little boy. Like it was such a weird time. Yeah.
Damn.
But being a paper boy is because we had to collect our own bills, and sometimes adults would just be very. Like shisty, like it's weird. They treat you like a bookie or something. Like, hey, it's been like 3 weeks since you paid me, and you just see like the lights go off.
Oh, what a nightmare, dude! Nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's newspapers. It's pretty cheap.
It's like especially then, like in the
It's like
2000s.
$12 for 2 weeks.
Yeah, basically.
That's less than a Kevin Bacon tip.
They're like, they're like, I'm light. I'm like, well, I don't know what this is. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, you're just 12 years old. You got like you're putting them up against the wall, being like, "I'm coming back on Wednesday for everything," or you're taking, you're losing an arm.
I'd hate to see your paper get all wet. Oh God, it's so hard to read a soggy newspaper, right? God forbid that would happen.
You're just standing out there ripping up the sports section. You're like, I ain't getting this one this week, huh? You're never gonna know what happened to the Jets.
Never gonna know. It is weird. It's an interesting job. Like I think about that, like how that's gonna date me, and it probably does now. because like that's not like a weird thing to like deliver the news. Like it's a physical thing that you would give, and like people would get like catch up. Like it was like before everyone. I mean, there was still like the internet, but not like what it is now. So it was just such a strange thing. Like I had to deliver you'd have to wait for a boy to deliver news to you.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a good one. And then I was a bus boy. That was fine. And then what did I do? I was like working at a bagel place. I was like a stock boy for a while. That was a fun job, actually. You get to meet some real creeps.
I bet you get to steal a lot of bagels too.
Yeah, that I got high a lot, and I would just eat like tuna fish. Like they had like a big like jar of it, and I'm just like eating it. It's just disgusting, But that was a fun job. I'm trying to think bad job. I mean, moving that's probably like the most recent job I've had.
That's brutal.
That's a bad job.
That might be the worst.
Yeah.
The worst job you could have as a mover.
Yeah, you work with criminals a lot. And yeah. Well, I worked for this other place in Staten Island, and then also this place in Brooklyn, which is near here. Brooklyn was a little bit better because they were like artists, but like in Staten Island, they had nothing. They were not aspiring to anything. They were just like,
waking up every day.
This is the mountaintop.
Right,
moving job.
Yeah, like hey, I'm not in prison and I have income. And the last time it was this kid, he was doing coke in the morning, like around like he would Edwin. No, I shouldn't say his name. Whatever, it could be Edwin. Who doesn't know? Maybe that's the joke name. You don't know, but he was doing coke at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and he just kept going, and he was doing okay. We were like, all right, he's doing all right, and then he just like snapped. He just had like a mental break, and he was like, there's two people in the front. Just imagine, so like the truck sits like four, so two in the front, two in the back, and this guy was just bugged, like he was like broke from reality. He was just like hyperventilating, like he was like he looked like I was like, what's going on? We tried to bring him to the hospital, he wouldn't get out, and we're like, what is going? Like we have another job, like we have to move a piano now, and Edwin is just bugging, and so finally he starts to come down. It was like hours of this, just him like. I mean, I've never seen anyone like it. And then I drove him home. I was like, I can't just have you go home by yourself. So I drove him home. Like, so what happened? He's like, I felt like I was like possessed. I'm like, oh, shit. He's like, yeah, there was like the angels here and there were demons here. And there was a guy, Vinny, we were working with. So I was like, whoa, who was the angels? Like, who was then? He's like, a Vinny. And I'm like, oh, who was the demon? He was like, it was you. I was like, fuck, man, I want you out of my car ASAP. Right?
He's like, Peter, can you drive me home? He's just going to murder you.
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't know. I had a knife on me too. I'm like, fuck, all right, I got to locate the knife. But he was fine. But it was just such a weird, he's like, it was you. I'm like, okay, cool. I got to get out of this.
Did he ever tell you what he went to jail for?
I don't think he went to jail. Everyone else, mostly drug dealing, but it's more that kind of stuff. No, like assault, a little bit, some assault, no murders, nothing like that.
And that's
just wrong place, wrong time. They were kids, you know what I mean? Like you get locked up when you're like in your early 20s. It's just what happens sometimes. Those people, they're good people.
Sure.
Sometimes they just do coke a little too much and get a little bugged.
Sometimes they're
in the middle, in the beginning. He started the day shooting rails, and we're like, wow, okay, it's gonna be that kind of day. He was a good mover though.
It's like coffee.
Little coffee, yeah, exactly.
A little coke in the morning, stripping some copper at night. What are you gonna do?
Listen, who's to say, huh? We're all God's children at the end of the day.
I agree, dude. I agree.
My dad used to smoke crack in the morning before work.
Oh, that's wow.
Not even a joke.
Really?
Yeah, like he would like we'd be around people that you shouldn't be telling these stories about, but he would talk about his old drug days, and he was, he had issues with heroin, and
issues is a very polite way to.
I know, I don't.
The only thing better is like he dabbled in heroin.
He had a brief foray.
He had an entanglement with heroin, but he would be like, yeah, he's like, and I was so fucked up and like tired and drained. He's like, I would have to smoke crack in the morning to be able to get through the workday. Oh. And I was like, coffee didn't do it. He's like, nah. Coffee stinks.
Coffee, yeah, I know.
Coffee sucks.
Oh, dude, that's brutal. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I think that's how you know when you're I was thinking about this. Like, how do you know you have a drug problem? And it's like when, like, if you're doing it at night and like there's people around and like it's a party thing, you're like, okay, maybe you don't have a problem. But if you're like running errands on drugs, like you're going to like CVS and you're like fucking cranked and you're like, yeah, I think you got a problem. If you're like,
that might be it.
My rewards card isn't working. Like you're just sweating. I'm trying to buy the shampoo. And you're like, oh, yeah, I think that's how you know that you got a problem there.
I love that a drug addict is like shampoo is the most important thing I need right now.
Sometimes you function.
Not more drugs. That's usually what it is.
Well, that's what we got in Staten Island. Like, it was a lot of like my generation, probably yours too, in Long Island. Opiates was like, that was the thing. These kids got ruined. From my high school class, so many kids died, like super, super early.
Dude, a ton of people that I know, friends, siblings, that kind of stuff, died.
Ton.
Pills. 2 kids in my neighborhood died from one, pills. He came back from rehab and just took pills, and it was, you come down.
That's the problem,
and then your tolerance is down, and you take the same amount that you did when you left. And then another kid, I've told this story before, he smoked salvia, and he was living in the city.
He died from salvia?
He's kind of. He smoked salvia.
What a pussy, bro. Are you kidding me?
Dude, he lived in a high-rise in the city somewhere.
I don't
like
think
Brooklyn.
Bro. Let the rich die. You know what I mean? Oh, fuck. Yeah. Good. Was he he was a friend
He
of yours?
wasn't rich. He wasn't even rich.
He just
he was
lived
just
in a high-rise
living
apartment.
like he
How'd you do?
well, like I don't know, dude. I guess it's probably expensive.
Let me just say, was it a friend of yours?
We were acquaintances, friends. We had just become friends, right? We like lived in the same neighborhood, but we were different friend groups, and then we became friends.
Dylan used to sell him salvia. Yeah, that's what it was. I used to deal him salvia and lost that client.
Yeah, right. No, damn it.
Dude, it was crazy because we lost touch in high school, and then I was like, let me check in on this kid. How's he doing? And I found out he smoked salvia in an apartment building and then walked off the balcony thinking it was like the front door and fell and died. So did he die from salvia?
Yeah.
Statistically, no.
Right.
But also, yes.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I'd like to see his GPA. I'd like to see the records, see what's, you know what I mean, see what kind of brain he's working with. Because I know people smoke salvia. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
I knew people that just cried a little. That's about it. I was just like, I don't like know why I ever liked drugs at any point. I don't know. Alcohol's fun, always fun. But
Except the next morning. That's when I hate it.
Yeah.
But it's always fun.
Did you ever have to do a field sobriety test?
no.
Never?
Dude, I wrecked into a guardrail and kind of was sitting there with
That
my
was the
nose
test.
bleeding. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, one time in Jersey.
And you passed it.
I passed it.
That's shocking.
Yeah, it was.
Because they're basically made to, like, even if you're completely sober, you have one drink, very hard to pass.
I had maybe 3. And there was an hour drive. I'm coming out of a Taco Bell. This guy's like, he pulls me over and like, you were swerving. I'm like, first of all, I didn't want to tell him, like, I drink and drive all the time, but I'm not swerving, okay? I know when I'm swerving. I'm not swerving, not from 3 beers. And I was like, you have anything to drink? I was like, I had one, you know that line. Yeah, one. Just one drink, you know? And then he's like, all right, get out of the car. So he makes me, do the field. And the field sobriety tests are actually hard. Like, I wasn't drunk. I'm like, he's like, start from M and go backwards to A, stop at like C. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he started asking me weird questions like, did you go to college? I was like, yeah, I went to college. He's like, what's your major? I'm like, is this going to change the test at all? Like, I don't understand. Like, if I was like, I went to DeVry, are you going to make it easier on me or something? But he was so, I had to do like the touch of the nose and this and that. And I finally had to blow into the breathalyzer. And it was like the 2 cops are like looking at it and they're like talking to each other. And then the guy comes up to me like, do you not drink a lot or something? Like, I'm like, well, no, why? He's like, because your field sobriety test was like really bad, but you're like blowing zeros.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, he's just like insulting me for having like flat feet. He's like, you're a very uncoordinated man.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Bingo.
those things are made like, that's why if you're not drinking, just blow. But like if you are drinking, if you don't blow, you get arrested. But if you just blow and it's zeros, you're good. But
I don't know
like
if it was 0. I don't know what it was.
I was pretty anything
scared.
on their point of weight, you're
That's
fine,
fine, yeah.
right? But those field sobriety tests, because they're not only looking at how you do physically, but they're testing your ability to multitask, right? So they're looking at your ability to follow directions, listen, and then perform physically well. Dude, if I know,
but you're the most
so
scared
many
you've
people,
ever been. Like,
you're terrified, and I know so many people who completely sober couldn't do it because they also rattle them off. They've given those instructions hundreds, if not thousands of times to people. Like, okay, do this. Okay, now you're going to go heel to toe, 9 steps out, make a turn, taking 3 small steps, and then take 9 steps back. And then people will like walk 12 steps and they'll be like, oh, well, what are you doing? And they're like, I thought you were going to tell me to stop. And they're like, well, did I say that in the instructions? It's like a fucking riddle.
Sober, I would do the first thing he told me to do. And then I'd be like, all right, man, what was the next thing? We got to do this one at a time. I can't.
Yeah.
You ever ask somebody for like directions in a building and they're like, you're going to go left, right, left. And I'm like, I'll wait till I see the next fucking dude that works here. You know,
Can someone take me?
Yeah.
it's so like, I told you about when I got pulled over a little buzzed up and I told them that I was coming from a show and the cops made me get out and tell them a joke.
That's great.
And
That's
they
not,
said-
and I've heard that. That's not a rare story, apparently.
wild.
Like, I've heard a lot of people actually, not a lot, but like a few other people have been like, yeah, tell me a joke. How'd you do?
I did good. I did good.
like,
I was shook, bro. Like, but I was like out there side shaking. It was a situation 2-3 beers. I've done a lot of drinking and driving.
Sure.
And it was over like a tag. Like that's why they pulled me over. And then he was like, were you drinking tonight? I was like, nah, man. I was like, I'm just coming from work. And he's like, where do you work this late? And then, and then that came up and I went out there and I was probably like 5 years into comedy. And I told a joke about dick pics to 2 male cops. Yeah.
Perfect. That's the one you
I
want to do.
picture you standing in front and they got the spotlight on you. And they're like, all right, let's hear it, boy.
Well, I was so nervous. I did it like crowd work. I was like, you guys send dick pics, right? And
that's awesome.
And they were both like, yeah, no, I do.
My wife hates it. She hates it, but I send them.
Get that thing out of my phone, Barry.
That's amazing.
Did you have issues with cops like when you were like a teen running around?
What do you mean issues?
I keep saying issues because I don't want to say what things are really trouble.
You asking if I was
Troublemakers.
arrested? I've never been arrested.
No, I just mean like I remember because Staten Island sounds like you could get into some like degenerate little kid shit. Like I remember we used to just purposely try to run from cops when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, we would do that. Yeah, but especially as like a white kid, you can definitely do that. I'm like, they're coming to get us. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, you know. We'd have these parties on the beach, and then like cops would come sometimes, and like that was like that. That was a great way to end the party because it's like it's over now. You know, so we'd have like these parties on the beach in high school, and we'd have like these keggers and stuff. That was like super fun, and the cops would come, and then you'd hide in the. You know, it feels like you're in Vietnam and shit.
Yeah.
And just like, it's just fun.
In the brush.
That was the most fun. I remember that. Like,
it really was.
We'd be scaling bridges and shit, and like
Imagine you're a cop. You're just like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not gonna scale a bridge.
Some of them
for a boy.
Some of them wouldn't because it was mostly like fat cops in my neighborhood.
That's everywhere now.
And then there would be the dude like be flashing the light. He'd be like, if I find you motherfuckers, and then we'd be like, oh, this is great.
Is the best.
But you are right. That is a little. I didn't even think about how white privilege-y that shit is.
Oh, yeah.
If it was like a black dude running around, they'd be like, fire!
They'd be throwing fucking hand grenades. Like, get the flamethrower, Johnson. What are you doing? They're having fun. You moron. But yeah, we had fun at those pit parties. But it was a good time. My brother got alcohol poisoning there one time. That was nice. He drank a whole bottle of Southern Comfort. A whole bottle of,
dude.
Isn't it? It's really gross. That's like teenage. That's like little boy stuff. Southern Comfort.
When I hear that, I could taste it a little bit.
Right?
Soco Lime. That's freshman year of college.
Exactly. I think that's how old he was. So he's a year older. So he like came down to hang out with us. And then he was like just hammered, and we had to call I had to make the call to the paramedics.
Oh my god!
I had to come down, but he was okay. He was like in and out, and then I remember he was like throwing up, and like for some reason we thought it'd be funny if we just like cheered him on as he threw up. So he was like, yeah, and he's like, I remember that. And everything else, I had to like go to. Oh, it was awful. I had to go to my parents. Be like, hey.
Oh my god.
Had to bring him. And everyone's like, are you drunk? But I wasn't really drinking at that time. Like I didn't like drinking in high school.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel the same way? I was like, I don't know, it wasn't my thing.
I drank like the end of senior year, like going into college is when I really started drinking.
Yeah.
I was like, I started drinking early and often.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, like 13?
Yeah, 13.
Pittsburgh, man.
It's usually the
shit.
age.
Dude, it's all there fucking is to do in Pittsburgh. If
know,
you're growing up in Staten Island, you could take a train to the biggest city in the world.
That's
or,
true.
Or a ferry. And you being in Long Island, you're around stuff. Like, it was just drinking and then 16 weeks of Steelers season. It was like all we had. Which
It's
we
all
would
you
drink
live for. It's all you live for.
You'd like. I remember the first time I tasted beer. I'm like, this shit's. I was like 13. I was like kind of like a fat kid. So I was like, I'll stick with Capri Sun. Thanks. I'm not gonna drink beer. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll do a Sprite.
Yeah, no, it's like, no, I'm good. But did you guys like to taste the beer when you first had it? When I first had it, I'm like, this is trash.
It's acquired, but I would force it down because
right.
it was the cool thing to do. I don't know. The first time I ever drank a beer, I think I was like 7.
What?
And my dad was a different animal. And I remember I was doing a thing where I was pissed that he let my older brother, who's 5 years older than me, drink a beer. And I was like, he's not allowed to do that. He's not allowed to do that, you know? And then my dad was like, you want one? Here, try one. You're going to hate it. And then I tried drinking the whole thing to spite him, but it was disgusting. And I spitted most of it out.
Just 7. And you go play with the G.I. Joes after that. They're like, the G.I. Joes are on leave tonight. Start fucking each other.
You have a beer, you're like, I think these G.I. Joes need to walk down the hallway and find Barbie. I don't know.
So I'm trying to think. I smoked cigarettes kind of young. Like I had like, like the bad kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't know they're a bad kid. It's just a ruined child. But they like, you're just like, oh, it's Mark or whatever. Yeah. But it was this kid, and we found these old cigarettes. I think I smoked my first cigarette, and I was like, it was like 7, something like that. Young. It was it was like old cigarettes.
I feel like you knew in my neighborhood, you knew the bad kids. Like my brothers, I was friends with them. Their beds always smelled like piss because it was like, they never clean their room. So you'd walk into their house and just like, you get closer to their room, it just smells like piss. And you're like, all right, dude, what am I doing here? Yeah,
it's when you have like I've had that a couple times where you're like, I'm going to sleep over your house. And you get over to the house, you're like, I'm sick. I think I'm sick. Yeah.
Dude, I remember I used to hang out with some like, the troublemaking kids in the neighborhood. And I remember one time I was like 13, maybe even younger, like 12, and these kids were a little older. It was like 12, and they were like 14, 15, hanging out. And I remember I went over this kid's house. I had like just become friends with him. Like I was friends with me and this other kid were friends, just becomes friends with this other kid. And we go over there, and his mom is like bitching about the neighbor. And she's like, this person is such an asshole. When in reality, probably she was the problem. Yeah. Clearly. And dude, she gave us eggs to go next door and throw at the house. And I remember at like 11, 12 years old, I was like, yeah, I feel like this is not good parenting. Even that young, I went home and told my mom, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like that's a good role model. And my mom was like, yeah, we're going to not let you go to that person's house anymore.
See, I knew you were a narc. I knew it. Well, starts young. The narc behavior starts young.
Like, listen, I would do it. I would do that shit. But it felt weird with this mom being like, go take care of this for me, Michael. And I was like, this is bizarre, dude.
No, that was a big problem. Did you guys do that in Pittsburgh or Long Island? Did you guys have like mischief night, like the night before Halloween, where you just like throw eggs and ruin?
We called it Devil's Night.
Devil's Night, yeah. We're Catholics over here, so
it's all about never use the devil's name.
We don't like to invoke. We just have a little mischief. Actually, you know what's funny? So one time, I just remember this. So it was a mischief night, and this kid Robbie, he made a Molotov cocktail, which I think really goes above and beyond mischief. I don't think it's mischievous what they're doing. You know what I mean?
That's like a Cuban revolution type weapon.
Those they're very mischievous, those Cubans. You're like, no, I think they're trying to throw off the yoke
and liberate Staten Island.
Yeah, but he threw it at like a bus. So you threw it like and then the cops came and they were looking for Robbie. But yeah, so that was like the peak. That was peak mischief night, where it's like when you're 11, you're like, I got eggs, and then it's like 13, you're like, I think I know how to make a bomb now.
Oh my god, he threw it at a bus.
Yeah, city bus.
Holy shit! Like running or parked?
No, it was he hit it. Yeah, as it was going, he had to throw it,
and it worked.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't blow out to, I mean, I don't know how big but it was a decent size. It was more flame than a big explosion.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like I just watched The Bronx Tale.
I'm
taking it to the neighborhood.
Yeah, in Tottenville. Yeah, this little sleepy town.
Jeez, dude, that's crazy.
Mischief night. Yeah, it was fun stuff.
That's always like it escalated way too quickly. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're gonna throw eggs. Yeah, we're gonna throw toilet paper. Dude, I'm making a Molotov cocktail.
Okay,
all right, Robbie. I'm gonna stay home.
Less mischief.
Yeah, I gotta work on my Halloween costume. Actually, I can't make it to the Molotov. I wanna come.
I wish I could. No, but no, they were bad kids. That's the problem too. It was like they had not a lot of money, but Tottenville had like it's like dumb money. So like these kids had like no. I don't know. They got everything they wanted, so like those kids are the scariest. You know what I mean? When they just kind of they need to do bad things to feel alive. You know, I mean I think that's one of those scenarios.
Did you participate in like the
throwing a Molotov cocktail?
No, not the Molotov. But would you throw eggs at houses and shit?
Yeah. Buses and shit. Yeah, that was high. That was so fun.
We used to do paintballs. Paintballs, little paintballs.
You'd shoot them, right? Then you went through.
Well, shoot them, but then sometimes we would throw them. Like you would just take a handful. Car was driving by, and you would just like throw them over the fence. And it would just like.
It's so fun.
My brother had the blow dart one that he would shoot at people.
Of paintballs?
Yeah, it was like paintball. Like you like. It just shoot them.
It just dribbles out. It goes like 6 feet. It hits the car. You're just like
little thing.
You're just in the view.
Shoot them at cars and shit.
We used to put they were like not bad kids, but you know how it is when you're like, these kids they needed a dad.
Yeah.
They were a dadless group, and there's 3 of them, and we used to put like a log, so like around our block is like it's like not a steep turn, but it's like a curve, so you don't see what's going on ahead. We used to put like logs of wood, and people called it Planklin. Remember Franklin? Yeah. So we called it Planklin. We just laughed. It was good. It was a good time.
We were big on that. We started snowballs, and then the snow melted, so then we started doing acorns in the fall. And then at one point, my brother threw a rock at a car, and the guy fucking lost his mind. And then that kind of ended the old throwing things at cars thing.
I did that by accident.
You threw a rock?
Some guy tried kicking my ass when I was real young because I was throwing it. Me and my friend were like throwing rocks at each other, and one just smacked like the side, like a good chunk of the car. You know where it's like gonna leave a mark. And he fucking freaked.
It just sounds like you're like what you're saying about Pittsburgh. It just makes it. I don't know if it's the same country, but you're talking about throwing rocks and blowing darts and shit.
No, I mean it was so Pittsburgh like
the middle of nowhere.
We hunted every morning for our dinner.
My dad would smoke crack before he went to go on the hunt, on the big hunt.
It's just a blue collar city.
No, I know.
It's just so. But yeah, I mean, I lived like right in like the poor. I guess you'd call them suburbs, like right outside. So it was just fucking.
I threw
anarchy.
rocks, man. We all threw rocks. Oh, come on.
Yeah, my dad smoked crack too, dude.
Probably did. There's no doubt. If you get 5 DUIs, there's no way that you're like, maybe he smoked crack.
Hey, you've dabbled probably. You have a little dabble.
I think if you're drinking that long, I feel like in my drinking days, if I was like really going and someone's like, hey, and someone I liked was like, I got a little bit of crack. You want to try it? I think I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of do.
Dude, you know Jack Burke?
Maybe.
He's a comic, New York. He lives back in Boston now, but he sober for a long time. He did the pod, but he tried crack in Australia multiple times. He tried it, threw up. Told this story previously on the pod, but he was like, it was the worst hangover I ever had.
Oh.
And he goes, the next night, 6 hours later, I hit the guy up. I was like, let's do some more crack. He's like, I did it like 7 days in a row, and then I was like, I got to really get my life together.
Smoking crack in Australia.
Living in Australia,
It just
drinking and
sounds
smoking
hilarious.
crack.
Like just the phrase "smoking crack." And
Smoke
it's
some
like,
crack.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
No.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Did you have either of you, did you have any of those like friends that would just crazy and then just take it to the next level?
What do you mean, like become an addict?
No. In like terms of like what we were talking about, mischief. Like the guy with the Molotov cocktail. I had so many people that would like, people would be weird, they'd be fun, and then like one guy would come in, just a wild card, and be like, again, let's burn down the house. And you're like, all right, dude, we're just toilet papering it, okay?
I never had a guy like that, but my buddy Brian was like the I probably shouldn't say his name either, but he was like
It's a joke name.
He was like our troublemaker, but like it was like you saw what would happen. Like he ended up doing like multiple like bids in prison and shit. And when we would see him though, he had too much pride to like admit how much of a bitch prison was, so he would try to like sell it to us.
So you want to go?
He'd be like, dude, prison was fun for real.
Like
And
it's
we're
a timeshare?
Yeah. We're like, no, dude, it doesn't sound anything. He's like, yeah, bro. He's like, man, I'm trying to like find ways of like how it's bad. I'm like, yeah, dude, but the food's terrible. And he's like, no, man, like, yeah, the food that they serve, but like you get some ramen snuck in there and you're like cooking shit up with like a burner in the toilet, and like, it's crazy what they can make. Some of the smartest people in the world in there. I'm like, come on, dude, that can't be true.
So it's like, hey, anything that you could make in there on a toilet burner, you could also make at home.
Yeah. Oh, you make it on the radiator.
Yeah.
You make like a grilled cheese on the radiator. And then you're like, yeah, there's some... Yeah, you don't want to do. Yeah, I don't know. My friend was like, "You gotta go."
Yeah, he was like, and then I remember my like we all like nobody wants to like be like super. He like just got out, So my one buddy goes, yeah, you know what else is fun? Just being outside. He was like, we were allowed outside. He was like, when you want to be outside. And he's like, all right.
You got me there.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, I remember when I first got hired by the DA's office, we took a tour of the jail. Like, they brought us into the House of Correction.
Look what you're doing.
And I remember, dude, it was so weird, dude. It was bizarre.
You get to put these people in here. Doesn't that make you feel good? And you're like, yeah, it does. It makes me feel better.
Oh, still powerful, dude.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm going to put as many people I can in here.
I would be the worst at that. I'd be like, nah, you got kids.
He's not a bad guy. Come on. We all make mistakes.
But dude, I remember when we did the tour, they were the warden was like pitching it to us, and I remember after I just finished law school, I just taken the bar. It was an exhausting time, right? Sure. And I remember going into the jail, and he was like, "Yeah, we got guys in here who come in, no experience, they leave with a culinary degree," and that's what I always wanted to do before I went to law school. And I was like, "Fuck, man!" I left that jail, and I was like, that sounds pretty nice. Dude. It sounds pretty relaxing, dude. I could go to jail. I could read a bunch of books. I'd get tons of reading done. I get my culinary degree. I leave. That's the first step. There we go.
Was it prison or jail?
It was jail, House of Correction. Okay. So it's not like the prison. It's all guys doing max 2.5 years.
Yeah,
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah, people are. Yeah, there's differences. It's funny when people like, it's like, yeah. Like I went to jail. There's a difference between prison and jail, but yeah, that's, you know.
Well, some people were like, "Yeah, I went to jail," and I'm like, "You were in a drunk tank for a night. That's not jail, buddy. You didn't have to shit in front of a murderer. You know what I mean? Like that's jail."
Dude, I've told this before. On the tour, we went into the like holding room where they hold all the people. Like if you're convicted and you're doing a sentence, you sit in a cell, right? So you get 1-2 people in a cell. But if you're being held, where you're still your case is pending, you get put in this like basically an auditorium where it's all bunk beds, which is probably the worst place you want to be because there's like 300 guys in there.
No, but I feel like that's a common area. I almost feel like there's probably more guards there. I don't know. Maybe
it's I don't know.
It's not secluded.
But dude, all the toilets are wide open, and I remember we walk in. It's a group of like 20 of us, and the warden brings us in. He's like, "Come on in, guys!" And I look over, and there's just a guy taking a shit, just eye contact, and I was like, this feels like we shouldn't be here right now. This is his time.
He dominated you, bro.
200 other dudes. Dude, he did. I was like, we gotta go,
dude.
This is his home.
I could use that though. I have pee shyness, so like maybe I should go to jail for a little bit. That'll knock that right out of you.
Could be good for all of us. That would. I'd get reading done. I get my degree.
I'd learn how to take a piss in front of another man.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally. I do hate that. You guys have no problem? I hate peeing. And like if I'm at a urinal and I'm about to pee and then some other guy just straddles up next to me, it's all I'm just
I'm not a bitch. So no, I don't.
My thing is I have such.
I'm not a bitch. I love peeing around other guys.
I love doing a little peek at guys, a stranger's dick.
Let me tell you,
I'm
this.
a real man. I unload right next to other fellas.
Nothing relaxes me more than having a dick on either side of me, dude.
I think that there's a very specific etiquette in those situations.
Give me some room.
Like last night, I remember I walked into a bar and there's 2 urinals and then there is the toilet, and a guy was at the urinal and I was like, I'm gonna go to the toilet so I'm not standing next to him. That's the appropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
And I do it for his sake and my sake. I'm like, we're not animals. Let's have a little bit of privacy.
Or the trough. You ever see the trough?
Yeah.
That's it's unmanageable.
At any NFL stadium basically now.
You just right next to just load up. I can't do this. I just can't.
So much ice.
I've been at like a packed one at like a Pittsburgh Steelers game and had the weirdest thing of a dude like wedge his way in. Like wedge his way in next to him. And I was like, all right, I'm set.
No.
Dude, nothing like touching shoulders with a stranger to help relax your muscles. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, I so many times I've just had to like pretend to pee. I was like, yeah, really pissing right now, right? Man, it feels good to unload this. You can't just go. You can't just leave. You know what I mean?
Just holding a dry dick there.
Yeah, right.
I used to have a shitting in public fear, and I would like wait until people left and then I would let it loose. But yeah, college broke that. I remember the first week of college, I feel like I didn't shit I would like go and take a shit at like 1 a.m. so no one was awake, and then you just lose it. But that was my biggest fear about going to college, was shitting in public areas.
You know what I used to do in college is I would do because I thought it was really funny. Have you ever seen like a slow kid take a piss where he pulls his pants
all the
around
way
his
down
ankles and then does the tuck?
Yeah,
I would do that in the college
slow
bathroom.
kid.
And well, I don't want to say retard, dude.
Yeah, but
And
I had one of those too, and then he would go all the way down. We're like, Jerry, you're too old for this. Like, you are not.
Dude, this kid Chris in fucking high school that I went to school with, Bentley Challenge, the largest penis I've ever seen.
Amazing.
Just fucking standing like 4 feet back. Just I was like, he knows what he's doing, dude.
God gives, God takes
I
away.
literally was gonna say God touches certain people in certain places.
That's right.
But that had two reactions when I would do that. Is people either thought it was absolutely hysterical or people got furious. What the fuck, dude? I'm trying to see your fat ass, Dude, I can see. And I'd be like, and it just made me laugh so hard.
It's a good bit.
Yeah.
It is a good bit.
Great bet. Were you a big wetting the bad guy when you were drinking? What was your thing when
I think
you were
when you're drinking, it's pissing the bed.
I mean,
wetting the
I was
bed.
saying like,
Okay,
oh,
dude.
Yeah,
I don't
it's wetting the bed when you're little. When
I
you're,
made on the bed.
I piddled.
Ugh, I feel dirty after that, right?
Piddles.
No, what was your thing though? Did you have a thing in terms of like when you were drinking? For me, it's
My thing-
usually my hangovers. Like the reason I would stop drinking eventually would be the hangovers are so bad. Ray, it'll be another drunk driving / diabetes. You,
That'll do it. I was just a jerk off. Like, I would just be like rude to people and like
Yeah.
just act like nothing is ever bad gonna happen to me. And it never did though. I don't know. It's weird.
sounds like you didn't have a problem. I don't know.
No, I can't. It's something I just, say some things are just you can't do on the pod, But
Yeah.
Well, but dude, like it's that thing too where like you don't like. I feel like you don't need a rock bottom to know like your life could be a little better if you cut that shit out. You know what I mean? Like I have that you were saying about being an asshole. My biggest thing is the blackout remorse.
yeah.
Oh
blackout.
yeah.
You ever black out though? Like this happened to me where I blacked out and I was like, I woke up next to my girlfriend, now wife. I'm just like, oh, I'm so sorry. She's like, you were a perfect gentleman. And I was like, what? Like that's like a weird thing when you're blacking out and you're actually like just better.
And you're still being like just doing shit.
Just normal
So
stuff.
weird. She's like,
Holding doors for people. This way. Like,
you made me tea and read to me.
that mean nothing to you? You're like, no, I don't know. Yeah, blacking out was tough. I would black out. More brownouts, but my first time I blacked out, I was 18, and we were playing quarters with Jack Daniels. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. I got hammered. So hammered. It was a whole group of our friends. I started trying to fight all my friends. I was hitting on everybody's girlfriend, and that's like that's not me. But when I black out, I'm like, you want to dance with daddy? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just swinging on people, and I woke up the next day. I felt great. I felt so good. I felt clean. I don't know. I woke up and I was like, ugh, like I was like a cartoon waking up, and me and my brother shared a room. And he was just like, I don't even know if I should talk to you. I'm like, what happened? And he like went into the whole thing. I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. But when I woke up, I really had never felt better. Like it was like my id. It was like my id was just like ready to like, I let it let loose, And but yeah, I'm trying to think of other bad blackouts. Nothing crazy.
My id.
I felt great.
I really felt like $1 million. It was like, I don't know. I think, I don't know. Maybe that's probably what it was.
Dude, I had there was a kid I went to college with who used to black out a lot, and I might have told this story before, but he blacked out one time. I went to school at Siena in Albany, and he blacked out on a Friday night and woke up Saturday morning in his childhood bedroom on Long Island.
Whoa.
Dude, he literally went out drinking.
Whoa.
Came back.
That's like a 5-hour drive.
Blacked out and then drove home. We're talking bridges. We're talking through like paying fees, interacting with people, and then like literally woke up on Long Island and was like, what the fuck? Whoa. That's scary blackout, dude.
Whoa.
That's like maybe a medical problem in addition to alcohol.
Yeah, right? Because
it's crazy. When I heard that,
I've definitely gotten home under precarious situations, but I was never dumb like that. Like I'd never make The drive has to be within about 45, even 45 stretching it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, give me 30, and I'll go home blitzed. But if it's above that, if it's longer than an episode of Friends, forget
it. You know that because that's what you're doing while you're driving. You got Friends on the dashboard.
Oh, why don't they just wind up together? I mean, come on. Will they, won't they? What's going on?
Nothing calms me down like Chandler. Sobers me up. Wit.
All right, dude. We just hit an hour. That was great, man.
Cool.
Do you want to just tell the people where they can find you? Plug anything you want. This will be out in 2 weeks, I think.
I know there's another one over here. What's up, man? You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I was gonna say Twitter, but Twitter is fucking dead. I don't give a shit about Twitter anymore. Or YouTube, I guess, at Peter Revello, Revello. I'm gonna have I recorded a special thing. Look out for that. And don't mistake my unenthusiastic sell of that for it. It's good. I just don't know how to do these
Where'd you record it?
The Gutter in Brooklyn.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool.
It's a cool room.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So it's going to be like a little abridged. Like, keep an eye out for it. You fuckers.
Yeah. Hey, open your fucking eyes.
You'd have to be a slow person to miss this.
You know what is I've dropped a couple faggots on the show.
You just did another one.
Okay, dude.
That's the problem is I always fucking say it when I'm finishing. What do you
when you're apologizing like a true politician? I'm sorry, I said the N-word repeatedly.
No, I'm trying to do better.
That's good. That's a good way to end.
And you could find me doing better at Ray B Killing 'em on all social media, and you can see us here every single Wednesday. Dylan, where can they find you?
At Dylan Krasinski on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and at Troublemakers on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. We put the clips out every single week, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Go check them out. Go follow Peter, and we'll see you next week, baby.
Bye.
Good night.